The first chapter is about Africa macroeconomic performance and outlook. So my talk about this chapter will be structured around 3 points. In the first part, I will present an overview of the African economic performance and outlook. Then in the second part, I will provide an overview of the macroeconomic fundamentals on the continent. Then I will conclude by providing a few policy recommendations. On the macroeconomic performance and outlook, the key messages is that the growth performance on the continent improved in 2024, but remain fragile amid multiple overlapping shocks. In this landscape, real GDP growth on the continent improved marginally from 3% in 2023 to 3.3% in 2024, supported by strong government spending and also strong private consumption. The growth uptick that we saw in 2024 is also reflected in 29 African countries. And in 10 of them, we saw that real GDP growth increased by more than 1 percentage point from 2023 to 2024, which is a quite impressive performance on the continent. However, the slight improvement that we saw in 2024 was overshadowed by persistent and high inflation on the continent, combined with currency depreciation and also high debt service cost on the continent. That is undermining the development of the continent. Deepening geopolitical fragmentation, regional conflict, and also rising global uncertainty further cloud the outlook in the short to medium term. Looking ahead, real GDP growth on the continent is projected at 4% in 2025-2026, which is a 0.3 downgrade from the projection that we made in January. And this is largely due to the expected impact of the trade wars that we are observing now, and also the exposition on the continent to the global uncertainty. Across regions, growth projections vary widely depending on the exposure to the tariff shocks and also to global uncertainty. On the macroeconomic fundamentals, the picture is mixed. We have inflation, which is persistent and high on the continent. It is estimated at 18.7% in 2024. We also have fiscal and also current account deficit that increased in 2024. But all those macroeconomic fundamentals are projected to improve over the next 1 to 2 years. Exchange rate pressure is in most African countries. However, the volatility that we are seeing in the global financial market can also have an impact on the dynamic on African currencies in the short to medium term. External financial flows are also expected to decline in the short to medium term, largely due to the increasing aid cuts announced by major donors, and also because of the growing global uncertainty in advanced countries. On the debt front, we noted that debt to GDP ratios are declining, but they're remaining above the pre-pandemic level. Debt service costs are increasing and are limiting African countries to invest in critical sectors like health and education. On policy recommendation, the short-term priorities need to focus on restoring macroeconomic stability, but those policies need to be country-specific, as the impact of the shocks that we are seeing here is different from one country to another country. In the short term, coordinating monetary and fiscal policy response, institutional reform, fiscal prudence, and also reduce reliance on aid should be top priority for African countries. In the medium to long term, policy priority should focus on mobilizing private sector investment in key economic sectors. In the medium to long term, countries also need to strengthen local content and prefer procurement policies. Countries also need to promote franchising policies to navigate all the shock that we are talking about. Thank you.